Yep. My name's Terry from Monorex. I run the global creative collective that Joel is part of.
And my name is Lamour Supreme from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm one of the artists that are featured in the game.
Well, we were given the challenge or the role to bring street art and graffiti into the game. To make, New York is the mecca, is the birthplace of graffiti and street art. So, Massive Sweden recognised that and allowed us, or gave us the opportunity to use the city as a canvas. And I picked some of my, biggest artists, including Lamour, 22 in total, to come in and just take over the city with their visual graphics. We work with about 250 a year, but it grows every year because we've been to 60 countries, 70 or 80 cities. We're in Hawaii next week. We kind of travel and meet new artists every week, but it grows, it expands.
Okay.
We're the best, basically. We're the best artists in New York City. Are you kidding me?
I suppose the brief was loose, but they wanted 7 or 8 big name New York artists, Lamour being one of those guys. And then after that, it was everybody else needed to come from other parts of America and other parts of the world, and maybe not such a big name, but we mixed it up that way. But yeah, the way I selected it was kind of looking at the styles, and we had to, bring in graffiti like text writing. We had to do some paste ups. We needed to do character art. So it was a full-on range of styles.
Project.
Well, Tobias, who originally approached me with Terry, put me in the scenario of the game, saying if you survived in this game, and you're one of the surviving members of the 500 people that are left in this post-apocalyptic New York City, where would you paint? What would you paint? So it was kind of I was put in that whole game setting before I even saw the game. Just kind of the idea and the concept and the story, the rough story of the game itself, gave me an idea of what I wanted to do in the game, and Okay, my art pieces in the game, there's a few. I think you showed one where it was kind of like a biohazard, very dark figure, biohazard kind of message. Kind of giving the idea of there's this the powers that be, whatever it is in this world, are kind of systematically destroying or destroyed, the city, and will continue to do so in the world, basically, kind of thing. And I wanted to put that or implement that in a part of New York City where maybe if you were coming into New York City, let's say you're coming in from Jersey, you would go through the Lincoln Tunnel or something like that. So you're going through the Lincoln Tunnel. The first thing you see when you get into New York City from the Lincoln Tunnel are these series of walls, just massive walls that are 70 feet high. And that was one of the places that I was given a possible location, and that's the one that I chose because that'd be the most realistic of as a warning or a message to anyone coming into the city, this is kind of no man's land, go back, return, kind of type of thing. Warning all ye enter kind of vibe. Of course.
Could you put it in a sentence and say?
Okay. Well, in the game itself, you were able to basically do your art. You had your choice of doing your art in Times Square or, where else was the major location? Madison Square Garden. All these major locations that you would never be able to do your art in. Where in the game setting, it's chaos. You're an artist in this chaotic world, and you could do your art wherever you wanted, and whatever the reason was, that's probably why you would choose the location and why you did it. So that was one aspect of it. And then another aspect of it that I would normally never be able to do in real life is just the massive size alone of and how many places that we placed, that my art was actually placed in. another aspect, a logistical aspect that might not ever exist in real world. But yeah, I mean, those are like the major things, and also like the fact of like maybe if I was given these walls or like big walls in New York City, I don't think I would necessarily paint what I painted in the game because it's a different setting. There's a whole different vibe that's going on in the game that you want to convey as far as like an urgency or desperation or a hopelessness that you would experience in that type of setting as opposed to a regular, real world setting. So.
Yeah, oui, si tu veux.
It's not the first time.
It's not the first time we've
Yeah, it's not the first time we worked in a computer game. The first time was many moons ago, naming no names, but we did something very different. It was very happy stuff, and not too much. It was kind of a few little bits. But this is the first big video game project, and hopefully, something we'll continue to be part of. Yeah, so that's kind of. Oh, it's awesome. We've worked with Ubisoft before, painting murals in London for Eurogamer, but this is the first time working with them in a digital sense, and that was awesome going to Sweden, to the studios, and I kind of got time to speak to their designers and coders and tell them about our world, and then they were telling me how they get our stuff into the game and how their world works, and that was kind of a fun 2 days, understanding how you build a video game. So that was a learning curve.
Well, I mean, the idea that Ubisoft actually approached us to paint a landscape of New York City, with our art, it's kind of like it's kind of like the first of its kind. It's never really been done before, and hopefully, like you'll see more of this because like art is part of a city, like whether it's graffiti or street art or whatever, it creates the landscape of the city, and for Ubisoft to do that, it's amazing, and I think it's a great unification of different mediums, of our visual mediums into a game player's medium, so it's like more audience, more eyes on you. You're just expanding your audience as well too. So it's a great medium to kind of like express yourself in, and I'm just honored to be part of it. Oh, this is. I was watching the live action trailer. I was just really inspired by the sweepers, the cleaners, the guys that would come in with the blow torches and kind of thing. And apparently they're like blue collar workers that have like agreed to kind of like take this on, but somewhere along the lines they've kind of like something, yeah, or like a switch is flipped kind of thing, and they're just kind of like in like kill mode kind of thing, which has happened before, but it's like now it's in the game, so yeah, it's fascinating, so yeah.
Thank you very, very much, guys.
Sure.
Super, thank you.
Cool.
On n'a pas besoin de faire des plans de coupe parce que les plans de coupe, c'est tout ce qui est enfin, le